screen. Okay, so today I wanted to take a very important topic, which is called projectile motion. Okay, so some students have been giving me some silly excuses, which I already talked about it in the very first class. Okay, so if you want to stop coming, you can always stop coming. Okay, nobody is going to ask you to come here. Okay, so if you are serious about your studies, you have to be regular. Otherwise, you can stop coming. You can inform your parents, and you can inform me, and you can stop coming. Okay. School exams will be there continuously. Okay, computer science, biology, maths, everything will be there. So you have to sit and study after the class. Okay, so that's the only method. So if you are going to keep on giving me some excuses, I will not be allowing you in the future classes. So that is for sure. I'll be very, very strict with that. Okay. These things are a very stupid way of behaving in the class. Okay, so let's see. So if folks don't even know how to store all these Zoom meeting links properly, so that you don't disturb the class like this. Some students are like this.
Sir, it's not required like that. If you join a meet, it's already automatically saved in your Zoom when you click the join link thing in the app. So it will show the options of whatever meetings you are attending. So the person can easily find out the link. It's nothing big deal.
Yeah, I don't know why this guy is disturbing me in the class like this. Okay, I'm just. Okay, so okay, again, let me say that again. If you have school exams, it's fine, but you have to attend the classes. If you cannot attend the classes, school exams are going to be there all the time. Okay, if you cannot attend the classes, you can let me know and you can stop coming. Okay, so that's very clear. So you have to finish the class and then sit and study for your school exam. That's the only way. Because any of physics is very easy subject, so I'm sure you can study to yourself, right? All these topics you can study to yourself. Okay, so we are talking about projectile motion. So what it means is, suppose if I kick a football here, right? So it's going to take a path something like this. It's going to go and fall somewhere here. And that is what is a projectile motion. Okay. So what happens is, suppose if I throw something with the velocity u, right, at an angle theta, or let's say I'm kicking the football with the velocity u at an angle theta, then the x velocity will be taken as u cos theta, and the y velocity will be taken as u sin theta. Okay. So this distance from here to here, this distance is called as range. The place where the ball goes and lands, that is your point, where this starting point to ending point, that is what is called range. And this is what is called the maximum point. So what happens here is, we say that, so at this maximum point, right, can you imagine that if I say that, okay, is it going upwards or downwards, or is it going just straight in this direction, the topmost point?
Sir, is this distance, that is this velocity time graph, sir?
This is just the ball getting kicked over here. So it's not a graph. I'm just seeing the picture of the ball going from here to here. So this is the height. So I'm saying that at the maximum height, h max, what I'm asking is the ball going upwards or downwards, or is it just going the horizontal direction?
So pretty much horizontal
Horizontal
direction.
Pretty much horizontal direction. So that means we can say in the y direction, it is almost zero. It's same like I can say the ball is going to certain height, and then at this point we said velocity is zero, and then it will be falling down, right? So that means I'm going to call this as Vy to be zero at this point. And this is your height maximum. Okay. But if I take a point over here, listen carefully. If I take a point where the ball is here, right? So it's going upwards, and it does, at the same time it's going this way. So that means you have a velocity in the x direction, you have a velocity in the y direction. Okay. Similarly, when you consider a point over here, it's going this way and it's going this way. So that's what we call it as resolution of vectors. So that means this is your Vy and this is your Vx. Okay. I think I wrote it wrongly. So this is Vx, this is Vy. So this can be studied as two different motions, one in the x direction, one in the y direction. And that's why we are studying in this chapter, which is motion in a plane or motion in 2 dimension. Okay. So some of the important concepts in this topic is, right, again, the topic here is projectile motion. Very often students think that it is a very difficult topic, but it's actually very, very easy. In my opinion, it's extremely simple if you see it as two different motions, one in x direction, one in y direction. In the x direction, you have to remember two things. One is, think about this ball going up and then coming down. So is anybody pulling it downwards or not? Is
No
anybody,
one's pulling
Gravity?
it downwards.
gravity is pulling it downwards,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Which means no matter what, right? Here also the gravity is pulling it downwards. That's why the velocity will keep on decreasing until it becomes zero. And here also the gravity is pulling it downwards. And that's why the velocity will keep on increasing downwards. Okay. And I'm talking about Vy. So I'm talking about the y direction. So here I'm going to write the x direction. And here I'm going to write y direction. So in y direction, I'm going to say that the acceleration in the y direction is nothing but your gravity. And y minus, because it's always acting downwards. Okay. Which is minus 10 or minus 9.8 meter per second. When the when I kick the ball, right, after the ball is in the air, is anybody pulling it from the x direction? Is somebody pulling the ball?
No,
this
sir.
way?
It's only the gravity that's pulling it down
Only
towards the
gravity.
center of the earth.
Okay, but I'm talking about the x direction. Is anybody pulling it this way? The
No one is pulling
No,
it.
sir.
No one is pulling. So that means the acceleration in the x direction is going to be taken as 0. Why? Because the force in the y direction is gravitational force, and you know F is equal to ma. From that, you will be writing the acceleration in the y direction. Whereas in the x direction, nobody is pulling it this way. So that means we will be taking ax as 0. If there is no acceleration, right, what can you say about the velocity of the Vx? Will it be same or will it be changing when the acceleration is 0?
Sir, changing, sir.
When acceleration is changing, right, I'm asking you, V is equal to u plus at. If I say this is x direction, right, so x here, x here, x here.
So it'll be the same. Sorry, sir.
So ax becomes 0. So that means ux is u cos theta. So that means Vx, no matter where, right, everywhere the Vx is going to be remaining the same. So take it down. This will remain constant. Okay. Whereas here, uy is equal to u sin theta. Why? Because it's in the y direction. And that's what we saw here. This is u sin theta. Okay. Any questions so far? So let's say I'm going to say that the ball went from here to here. Let's say this is 10 meters, for example. And let's say this height is something like 5 meters. So it's moving in the y direction and it's also moving in the x direction. Even though I'm considering it as two different problems, right? In reality, it is only one single ball. Everyone following that? That means the time taken for the movement in the x direction and the time taken for it to move in the y direction, the time taken will be same or different? The x direction, it moved 10 meters. Let's say it took 2 seconds. In the y direction, it went to the top and then came back. Did it do it in 2 seconds or did it do it in 5 seconds?
2 seconds, sir.
Same 2 seconds, right? The ball is still the same, which means the x direction movement and the y direction movement are exactly the, even though for consideration, right, for our problem solving, we can consider it as two different problems. But in reality, the time taken is exactly the same. Okay, so there is no time difference. So that means take it down. T is same for both. T is same for both x and y direction. Okay. So I'm not going to do the derivations initially. I'm going to show you a simple problem in this, and then we can go to the derivations. Okay. So pay attention. As I told you, it's a very, very simple concept. Okay. Only thing, you should have the interest to learn this properly. So I'm going to take this as 20 meter per second. So it was thrown at a velocity of 20 meter per second at an angle of 30 degree. Which means I'm going to say that the velocity in the x direction, initial velocity ux, is 20 cos 30. 20 cos 30. Last class we studied about resolution of vectors, which means you should know what this means. And this is your uy. initial velocity in the y direction. This is u, is 20 sine 30. Okay. I told you at this point, right? Velocity in the y direction is 0 because it's not going upwards, it's not going downwards, it's just moving in this direction. Okay. Then I told you this is my h max. If I want to find this h max, right? Take it down properly as x and y separately. I'll be writing the x direction here and the y direction here. So take it down in the same way. So that means, suppose if I want to find this height, right? All I have to worry about is only this y direction. So that means I can write this as v squared is equal to u squared plus 2as. So I can write this as vy here, y here, y here, y here. So this is my initial velocity uy, this is my final velocity vy. So that means vy becomes 0. Uy becomes u sine theta, the whole square, plus 2ay. What is ay? Minus g. What is sy? Sy is your height max, maximum height. So this is my h max. So this is your 0, this is your 20, this is your sine 30, the whole square, plus this becomes minus 2 into 10 h max, which means I can calculate the h max using this. So do the math and tell me. So this is 20 square, so 400, sine 30 is 1 by 2, so which is 1 by 4, minus 20 h max. So anybody got the answer? This will be 100, 100 goes to the other side, so
So
100
5.
by 20, 5.
5.
So h max is equal to 5 meters. Did I use any new concepts here, or it's the same thing which you already know?
So the same thing, sir.
Same thing, right? So only thing you are considering the y direction. Okay, so vy is equal to uy, 2ay, sy. That's all. You see, if you know this simple concept that ay is gravity, and then uy is u sine theta, you can do this problem. Okay, they ask you h max, you can use this formula. Can anyone tell me how to find the time taken for it to come from here to here? Which formula can I use? V is equal to?
U plus 80, sir.
Yeah, very good. So I can use V is equal to U plus 80. And I'm talking about y direction. So I can put y here, y here. And time, should I put ty or should I leave it as t? What did I say?
So T, sir, because it's constant. Yeah.
T is same, right? So t is same between x and y. So that means I'm not going to write anything. But since I want to find the time to come to the maximum point, I'm going to call this as t max. Okay, I will not write as x and y. What is vy? 0. What is uy? U sine theta. What is ay? Minus g. T is what I want, t max. So this is 0. This is u is 20 sine 30
10.
minus 10
So 1 second.
t
sir.
max. We're getting 1. This is 1
Yes,
by
sir.
2, so 10. So 10, yeah, t max will become 1. So that means the time taken to reach the topmost point is 1 second. So take it down quickly. So we found the h max, we found the t max, right? Can I change the screen? Anybody still copying?
Thank you.
Copied?
Yes. Sir.
Okay. if I say one ball was thrown like this, it takes 1 second to go over here. Okay. What will be the time taken for it to come down here? What did I say?
1 second, sir.
1 second. So I told you it's something like a symmetrical thing. So if it takes 10 seconds to go to the top, it will take 10 seconds to come down. Because here the velocity keeps on decreasing. Here the velocity keeps on increasing. So both will compensate for each other. That means the time taken will be same. So similarly, if I say that it took 1 second for it to come from here to here, what
Sir,
can you say about
go a
this one?
little bit down, sir. I want to see the answer. Sir, okay, sir. It is correct.
So if I say it takes 1 second for it to come over here, how much seconds will it take for here?
1 second, sir.
1 second.
So this is what we call it as symmetry of the problem. Okay. So most of the time it's kind of symmetrical. So if this takes 5 seconds, this will also take 5 seconds. So that means the total time taken for this projectile motion, we call it as time of flight. Okay. So take it down. TF is called time of flight because the projectile is in a flight. It's flying. So that means I will call this TF to be 2 times T max. Why? Because this takes 1 second. So 1 into 2 is 2 seconds for the entire thing. So this is your time of flight. Any questions? Can I go to the next topic? So we found the H max, we found the time taken. What we have not found yet is we didn't find the range. So I told you the range is this distance. So range is X direction or Y direction?
X
Sir,
direction.
X direction. So that means put a topic here, X direction. I want to find the distance. So that means I want to use the formula S is equal to ut plus half at square. You may be wondering, sir, why can't I use v squared is equal to u squared plus 2s? Well, I don't know the final velocity with which it is going to hit here. So that means I can use this formula. Okay, because I know the time right now. So S is what is your range. I forgot to put the X. So this is your X. This is your X. This is your X. Time I told you should not put X or Y. But I want to find the total range, right? Total distance traveled here. So that means I will be putting it as TF, time of flight. So what did I say about AX? Is anybody pulling it in the X direction? Is the ball being pulled in the X direction?
Sir, no, sir.
No.
No.
So what did we say about AX? AX becomes 0. So that means this term is completely gone. So what is left is only UX. What is UX? U cos theta. What do you mean by UX? The initial velocity when you threw it over here. So that means UX is 20 cos 30. Time of flight is TF. 2 times T max. 20 sine 30. 2 into 1 second. This is 1 by 2, 1 by 2, 1 by 2 cancels. So I'll be getting 20 meters.
Sir,
Yep.
should be 20 cos 30. Sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
you are right. Okay, very good. So somebody is still awake. Okay, so that means cos 30 will be, what is cos 30? Be root 3 by 2.
Root 3 by 2.
So
I
root
got
3
the
by 2
answer
is
is
equal to, then you have
34.64.
20 here. So 2 cancels. So I'll be getting 20 root 3. Root 3 is 1.7. So 20 into 1.7 approximately I should be getting.
So
Yeah.
it's
34.6.
34.64 meters.
34 point.
64.
Okay. 6 something. Okay.
But it's, yeah, you can keep.
Okay, so this 0 and this decimal point goes away. So 2 into 17 is 34 point something. Okay. So
Sir,
if you are not
64.
64, okay.
We take root 3 as 1.732.
Yeah. So my suggestion for the CBSE folks is ISC folks, you are allowed to use calculator. You are not allowed, CBSE folks, you are not allowed to use calculator. So you should, develop the habit of, getting the approximate answers. Okay. Even ISC folks, I would recommend you to, whenever possible, you can use your calculator, nothing wrong in it. But then, try to get the approximate answers quickly. Okay. So if you're always dependent on calculator, the entrance exams are going to become very difficult for you. Okay. So you should know how to do some quick calculations. Any questions? X direction separately, Y direction separately. Okay. So we found the range, we found the H max, we found the time taken for half this, and then we found the time taken for the entire thing. By the symmetry of the problem, right? What I'm thinking is, if you are throwing at 20 meters per second, by the time it hits the ground, right? It'll be coming in the same angle, I think. So this will be 30 degree. So I think it'll be hitting at the same velocity, which is 20 meters per second. So let's see if that is true. So let me try that. V squared is equal to U squared plus 2AS. This is your X, 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 X. Velocity in the X direction is going to be same. So this and this will cancel, right? So what is left is AX and this. So in that case, this will not come correctly. What is the mistake I'm doing here? The final velocity is X direction velocities should be the same. So this and this will be equal. So this will cancel. It becomes 0. So why this? Okay, obviously AX will become 0, right? So which means this entire equation will become 0. So AX becomes 0 because nobody is pulling it in the X direction. I told you the velocity in the X direction is same everywhere, which means the final velocity and this are also same, which means it will become, entire thing will become 0. So you will not be able to use this formula to find the SX. Okay, so that's the reason why we didn't use this formula. So instead we have to calculate using this formula. Any questions, any doubts? So the point I'm trying to make here is there is no new formulas. You already know all these formulas. Okay. So only thing you should understand that there are two different things. One is in the X direction, one is in the Y direction. That's all. Any questions, any doubts? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now that you know the problem, right? You know how to solve this, right? You didn't have to remember any new formulas. But unfortunately, in the derivations, right, you'll be getting some complicated formulas. And sometimes I have seen students, struggling hard to remember these formulas, which is unnecessary. If you know these basic formulas, you can always use these things and get the answers. Okay. So now I'm going to get into the derivation part, which is required for your theoretical exams, right? In addition to the numerical, we'll need it for the theoretical things. The concepts are going to be exactly the same, right? Only thing, instead of numbers, you're going to leave it as u sin theta, u cos theta, g, all those things. Okay, that arc is not looking good. So let's try it one more time. Okay, so I think that is better. So some of the things are not there in the handbook, so make sure you are taking down the notes properly. So I told you that this is the velocity u, this is the velocity u cos theta, this is the velocity u sin theta, right? So if I want the h max, what did we do at the very beginning? We found the h max. So if I want the h max, we said Vy is equal to 0. So instead of putting the numbers, you just have to leave it like this. So that means the y direction. Again, write it properly. Y direction, x direction, you have to write it properly. As I said, this is projectile motion is very, very easy if you follow this, all these concepts properly. So v squared is equal to u squared plus 2as vy uy ay sy. V squared is final velocity 0. Uy is u squared sine squared theta minus 2g. Sy is your h max. So if I want h max is equal to u squared sine squared theta divided by 2g. So do the math yourself, okay? And that is one derivation. They will ask you to derive this. So when doing the problem, right, did I have to remember this formula or did I have to remember only this basic formula? Everyone? To do the problem, should I remember this one or should I remember this one?
Basic formula.
The basic
Formula. Yeah. So if you remember this, right, even after 10 years, when you're working as a professional somewhere, right, you will still be remembering this. Okay. If you try to remember this after 2 days, you will be forgetting this. Okay. So you should understand where it is coming from. So remember this and your life will be very easy. If you try to remember these stupid formulas, you are creating problems for yourself. Okay. So try to remember only the principles, not the final formulas. Okay, now let's go to the time. So what did we say? V is equal to u plus at. Y here, y here, y here. Vy is 0. Uy is u sin theta. U plus at minus gt. So that means T max, the maximum height. The time taken to reach the maximum height, T max, is equal to u sin theta divided by g. So again, the same story. So I didn't have to do this previous problem, right? I didn't have to remember this formula. All I have to remember is only this one, not these things. Okay, so you don't have to remember these formulas. This is only for your derivation. Since you know that time of flight is 2 times this, time of flight will be 2 times this. So 2u sin theta divided by g. Why? Because we said time of flight is twice the time taken to reach the maximum height. Anybody still copying this? Can I change the screen? I have to go up here. Okay. Now let's come to the x direction. So I told you v squared plus v squared is equal to u squared formula will not work in the x direction. Why? Because ax becomes 0, vx and ux are same, which means everything will become 0 there in that equation. So I want to use s is equal to ut plus half at square to find the range. So x here, x here, x here, time of flight. Why time of flight? I want to find the total time taken. So Sx is your range. So Ux is your u cos theta. Ax becomes 0. Time of flight is 2 times u sin theta by g. Where did I get this from? because just now we derived TF is equal to 2u sine theta by g. From your trigonometry, anybody remember what is 2 sine theta cos theta? 2 sine theta cos theta. Trigonometry, I'm sure you have studied this.
Sir, I think it is sine 2x, sir.
Sine 2x or 2 theta. Yeah. So nobody else is remembering mathematics.
Sir, actually, I have a confusion whether it is sine 2x or cos 2x, sir.
Sine 2x will become 2 times sine x cos x, which means 2 sine theta cos theta will become sine 2 theta. U into u becomes u square. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Anybody wondering how I got that? Means you can use sine a plus b concept. Okay. Sine a cos b plus cos a sine b. So if this is theta and theta, it will become theta plus theta will become sine 2 theta. Sine 2 theta is nothing but this is sine theta, this is cos theta, this is cos theta, this is sine theta, which is nothing but 2 times sine theta cos theta. Very simple. So make a side note. Okay. If you know the trigonometry, it's very easy.
So range is the total distance on the right, sir. Total
Range is
distance.
the total distance traveled by the ball in the x direction.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Any doubts? So we derived h max, we derived t max, we derived tf, we derived range. Okay, using the simple formulas. Absolutely nothing new here.
Sure, can you scroll a little bit down, sir? I need to copy the formula. Yes. Right. Sorry.
Okay. I hope all of you following it. If you have any doubts, please stop me. It's all very simple. If you clarify it immediately, it will become easy. If you keep the doubts to yourself, it's going to become tough. As I told you, most of the time projectile motion students try to remember these final formulas. In my opinion, it's the stupidest way to study physics. Okay. So my suggestion is you should remember only the basic formulas, 3 equations which you already know. Only thing you should know how to put the x and y and then do the problem. However, the final formulas will be helpful for you to derive some other concepts. For example, so listen carefully here. Suppose if I kick the football vertically upwards, the ball will go and fall like this. If I throw it in a very shallow angle, it will go something like this and fall here. And if I throw it some optimal angle, it will go something like this. Okay. Okay, so what I was trying to say here was, suppose if you put at one particular angle, like an optimal angle, right? It will try to go farthest distance. If you reduce the angle, right, it will be, the range will be very less. If you increase the angle, it will go like this and it will fall like this. For example, in this particular case, the example which I have taken here is, this is 30 degree. This angle here is 60 degree. And this red one, optimal angle is 45 degree. So only when you kick the football at 45 degree, right, it will be going to the maximum distance. So range, we found it as,
So over here, we are kicking the football with same force, so in all
Yeah.
3 cases.
yeah, in all the 3 cases, I'm hitting it with the same force or same velocity. So
Okay.
range, we found it as u squared sine 2 theta by g, right? So listen carefully, whenever you see sine or cos, right? So very important concept from your mathematics. I see some of you are not thorough with your mathematics concept. So let's go back to the basics. So 0 degree, 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree, or you can write 270 and 180 also. Okay, we'll come to that later. So this is sine theta, this is cos theta, this is 0, this is 1 by 2, this is 1 by root 2, this is root 3 by 2, this is 1. And the actual value here is, this is 0.5, this is 0.7, this is 0.8, this is 1. So you see the value of sine theta keeps on increasing along with the angle. Okay. So similarly, if I take cos theta, you know that cos theta is 1 will come over here. So 1 root 3 by 2, 1 by root 2, 1 by 2, 0. So as the angle increases, right, the cos theta value decreases. Okay, so here sine value increases, cos value decreases. Okay, that's the important concept for you to remember. So now, even if you go beyond this, right, so 90 and then 180 degree and then 270 and then 360 degree. 180 is 0, 270 is minus 1, 360 is 0. Okay, cos 180 is minus 1, cos 270 is 0, just like cos 90. Cos 360 is same like cos 0, which means it is 1. Remember, 360 is coming back to the same point. Okay, everyone following what I'm saying? This is your 0 angle, this is your 90 degree, this is your 180, this is your 270, this is your 360. So when you come back to 360, it is same as 0 degree, which means whatever you have put in 0 degree and this should be matching. Okay, I think I wrote it in the wrong place. So this is minus 1, this is 0. So this is not correct. So take it down properly. I see, I'm sure you have studied this in your maths, but still, you know, some of the time you folks are not able to, you know, answer it properly. So nothing wrong if you take it down one more time. Now tell me, what is the maximum value a sine and cos can take?
1.
So 1, so
1. Okay. So that means if you see the graphs, right, very important topic in your trigonometry. So go back and study your maths properly. So if you see the graphs like this is your sine. So this point is your plus 1. This point is your minus 1. Okay. Here it's kind of increasing and then it's coming back to 0. Then again it's going back to minus. So this is 270 degree. So at 270 degree it will be minus 1. And here it will be 0. Okay. So that means the maximum value sine can take is only 1. All the other values are less than 1. Okay, so now coming back to this, if I say u squared and g are already some given number, right? What will be the maximum, which value of sine should give me the maximum range?
1.
1, right? all the other values are less than 1. So that means only when this value is 1, I'll be getting maximum range. So take it down. Only when this is 1, I'll be getting the maximum range. Which means sine 2 theta. Why? Because if I say it's a fraction, all these values are going to be fractioned by this number. So if this was 10, 10 into 1 by 2 will become 5. 10 into 0.8 will become 8. So that means the maximum value 10 will appear only when you have 1 here. Everyone following this? Anybody not following this? That means the maximum range will happen only when this is equal to 1. So sine 2 theta is 1. So you know that sine 90 gives you 1, which means theta has to be 45 degree. Any doubts, anybody? So what this says is only when the angle is 45 degree, you'll be getting the maximum range. When theta is equal to 45. And I have given you another interesting information. You see 30 degrees nothing but 45 minus 15. 60 degrees nothing but 45 plus 15. So it means 45 is something like your nominal or the optimal angle. So from there, if I add or minus, right, 45 minus alpha, 45 plus alpha, both the things will give me the same range. Okay. This is kind of interesting, right? 30 degree and 60 degree will give you the same range. Let's see if that is true. Suppose if I put 30 degree over here, what will happen? 30 into 20 is, 30 into 2 is 60. Sine 60 is root 3 by 2. Suppose if I put 60 here, 60 into 2 is 120. Sine 120, anybody? What is sine 120? Sine 120 is somewhere here, which means this is 60 degree. So this is 180 degree. So this sine 120 can be written as sine 180 minus 60. All these things, I'm assuming that you are studying this in the trigonometry right now. Is that true, everyone?
Yes, sir.
You can also write that as sine 90 plus 30, sir.
Yeah, but this is kind of easier. Generally, I like to write it as 180 and 360 because sine will remain as sine. When you write 90 and 270, sine will become cos and cos will become sine. Is that okay? Chaitanya.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So sine 180 minus 60 will become sine 60. Why? Because second quadrant, all silver teacups. So that means sine will be positive. So that means I will be putting a positive sign. And then sine 180 minus theta will become sine theta, which means sine 60. Sine 60 is again root 3 by 2. So that means what I'm trying to say here is 30 degree and 60 degree will give me the same range. So take it down, make a proper note. 30 degree and 60 degree will give me the same range because sine 120 and sine 60 are equal. If you have proper notes, I'm sure physics will become easy. If you don't have proper notes, you can keep on struggling with the books. If you have the notes and then study the textbook means it will become easy. And of course, I provided you some handbooks also that will also be helpful for your revision. Okay. Whenever I try to go to the derivation, right, you folks will find it difficult. So what I do is I give a simple numbers so that, once you are convinced that 30 degree and 60 degree will give me the same range for the same U and same G, right? Now I can go to the derivation. How do you prove that? How to prove that 45 degree plus or minus alpha, plus alpha and minus alpha, both should give me, both angles will give same range. How? Very simple. Range is equal to u squared sine 2 theta by g. Is that correct? U squared sine 2 theta by g. Yeah. In place of theta, right? I'm considering two different angles. So u squared sine 45 degree plus or minus alpha. Then there is a 2 in the outside divided by g. This is u squared by g. 2 multiply this, so it will become sine 90 plus or minus 2 alpha. Okay. So what can you say about sine 90 plus theta, sine 90 minus theta? Anybody remember the formula? Sine 90 plus theta will become? So nobody has studied trigonometry properly.
Sir, it has to be cos theta or minus cos theta.
No, both will become cos theta. So let's talk about that.
Sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Got it.
So listen carefully, go back and check your mathematics. So sine 90 plus or minus theta. So let's take plus theta first. Then let's take sine 90 minus theta. This is easy. 90 minus theta is cos theta. Okay, why? Because 90 is here. So 90 minus theta will be first quadrant. First quadrant sine is positive, so that means positive. Then with sine with 90 will become cos. Sine 90 plus theta means second quadrant, right? This is second quadrant. This is first quadrant. So 90 plus theta means it's here. Okay, this is 90, so 90 plus theta. So second quadrant. Second quadrant sine is positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive.
Positive. Sine with 90 will become sine 90 or cos theta or sine theta? Cos theta. Okay. Yeah. So that means very often the mistake you will do in maths is you will think that, okay, here I have written cos, so cos is negative in the second quadrant. That is wrong. So what I say is, look at the input here. Input is sine. So that is what you should be seeing here. So that means sine is second quadrant is positive. So first put positive, then talk. So sine 90, sine with 90 will become cos. Sine with 180 will become sine. Cos with 180 will remain as cos. Cos with 90 degree or 270 will become sine. So that means this is also giving you cos theta, this is also giving you cos theta, which means range is equal to u squared by g sine 2 times 45 degree plus or minus alpha is nothing but u squared by g sine 90 plus or minus 2 alpha, which is nothing but u squared by g cos theta. Theta is 2 alpha. So that means in both the cases you should be getting the same thing. Same result. And thus we proved that. So we proved that 45 plus or minus alpha will have the same range. So very often they'll ask you in the theory questions, prove that 45 plus or minus alpha angle will give you the same range. So very simple. If you know the trigonometry, it's very simple. So what this means is if I say 45 plus 5, it is 50 degree. So 50 degree and 45 minus 5 will be 40 degree. So 40 degrees and 50 degrees will give me the same range. So if you throw a ball, different angles with the same velocity, it will give you the same range. Okay. Similarly, we already talked about 30° and 60°. Any questions? Any doubts? Any questions?
So this formula I couldn't get the thing. What you have written here. R is equal to U square by G cos 2.
Yeah. So what did we do here? 2 into 45 becomes 90. 2 into alpha becomes 2 alpha.
2 alpha
What is sin 90 plus or minus theta? Cos theta.
cos theta, sir.
So in place of theta, what do you have?
Okay, fine, got
2
it.
alpha. That's all.
Yes, sir.
So basically, I'm saying that both the angles will give you the same cos 2 alpha. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
No matter how silly the question is, please clarify the doubts immediately. Okay, very, very simple concepts, nothing very difficult here. If it is difficult, I myself will tell you that it is difficult. Okay, so sometimes you will not understand the concept immediately. So it will take, as you keep on studying, maybe after 1 month or 2 months, slowly you will understand the concepts. Okay, there are some topics where it will take some time for you to digest the material. Okay, but these are all easy topics. If you know the trigonometry, you can get it immediately. So very interestingly, right, whatever we studied right now, it is a law given by Galileo. So in Galileo's book, he has mentioned this. So take it down. Galileo in his book stated that the ranges are equal for elevations. So take it down. Galileo in his book stated, so it's called Galileo's law of ranges. Galileo's law of ranges. In the previous chapter, we studied some other Galileo's law. What was that? Anybody remember? Galileo's law of
Odd number.
odd numbers, right? Odd ratios. So what was that? As that the time taken in a given time interval, right? When the ball is dropped from certain height, it will be the order of odd numbers, right? And it will be in the ratio of odd numbers.
Yes, sir.
Galileo in his book stated the ranges are equal for elevations. So take it down. The ranges are equal for elevations. By elevation, we mean the angle theta. Elevations which exceed or fall short. Exceed or fall short of 45° by equal amounts. Sometimes the sentences can be slightly difficult, okay, but if you understand the concept, exceed means plus, fall short means minus, okay, plus or minus of 45, equal amounts means alpha. So plus or minus, so 45° plus or minus alpha is what is written in a very hard way. Okay, that's why we say that mathematics is the language of engineers and scientists. So something which can be written like this in a easier way, you have to say it in a very hard way in English. Yeah, tell me, what's your doubt?
For example, if they ask a question to prove this law, we need to take an angle theta as 45 plus or minus alpha and then prove that they have the same range as you did.
Yeah, this is what you're supposed to prove, these two steps, that's all.
That's what I meant to ask, sir.
Yeah, because range, this formula, so you can directly use u squared sine 2 theta divided by g. Okay, if you want, you can write one more step here. R is equal to u squared by g sine 2 theta. So that's your range. So from that only you're starting this derivation. Is that your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions? Any doubts? Any confusions? So as you say, very often I'll be telling you that mathematics is the language of engineers and scientists. Okay, drawing is also a language of engineers and scientists. Okay, so you see this complicated sentence can be written in a very simple way like this: 45 plus or minus alpha. Okay, if you don't have any doubts, I can proceed. So let us review what we have seen so far. Everyone listen carefully, pay attention. We said Ax is equal to 0. Why? Nobody is pulling it in the x direction. Ay is gravity all the time downwards, minus t. U cos theta, U sin theta in the y direction. I told you don't have to remember any complicated formulas. You can use the basic formulas and find out the H max, T max, T flight, and then the range. And then we did the derivations based on the same concepts. Okay, whatever we did in the numerical, we are doing it in the algebraic thing. So when you put numbers, it is called numerical. When you put some x and y and u and theta, it is algebraic. That's all. This is what is called algebraic problems without the numbers. And then from your trigonometry, you should know that the maximum lowest value is 0 and the maximum value is 1. If you don't consider the minus, right? The sine and cos will always take values between 0 and 1. So that means we found the range max is when this is equal to 1. And then we also derived one more concept called 30° and 60° will have the same range. And that is what is called 45 plus or minus alpha. This is what we have done so far. Okay. So I have completed all the derivations in projectile motion except one. So there is only one small derivation. Let's finish that quickly. Anybody having any doubts, any concepts not clear, please ask me right now. Everything clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Okay, I don't know what happened to my screen. Okay, it's back here. Okay. Prove that the path of a projectile is parabolic. So very often they will ask you this theoretical question. So prove that the path of a projectile is a parabola. Okay. So again, just from the drawing, right, it looks like a parabola, but is it like a proper parabola or an inverted parabola?
Inverted, sir.
Inverted, right?
Inverted.
And parabola from your 10th standard mathematics, what do you know? How does the equation look like? Will it have a x or will it have a x square?
X square.
X
X
square.
square.
X square.
You must have studied as quadratic equations. So when you plot the quadratic equations, you will be getting a parabola. And when you have a minus x square, right, you'll be getting an inverted parabola. Okay, all these things you must have done it in your 10th standard maths. Okay, let's see how I can prove that. So if I consider a small location here, let's say this is my x location, this is my y location. This x, right, from my basic formula x direction, I know that s is equal to ut plus half at square. X here, x here, ax becomes 0. Sx is here. I'm talking about this location of this ball at this particular point. So that means this is my distance in the x displacement. So I'm going to call this as x here. Ux is nothing but u cos theta. Why? Because this is your u, this is your theta, this is your u cos theta. This is your u sin theta. Okay. So it means u cos theta into time of flight is Tf. Sorry, I'm talking about x location here. That means it's not time of flight. It's just a time, some time to reach over here. That means it's not time of flight. It's only t. Everyone following what I'm saying? I'm just saying that to reach over here, what is the time taken? So this is the x distance and this is the y distance. The y direction, I'm going to do the same thing. I want to find this displacement, which means s is equal to ut plus half kt square. So y here, y here, y here. Sy is this displacement in the y direction, which is in this particular point. When this ball has reached this height in the y direction is y. Uy is u sin theta. Time taken is same t over here. This is minus g by 2 t square. In place of t, I'm going to replace it as x by cos theta, x by u cos theta. So this I'm going to substitute it over here. So that means y is equal to u sin theta x divided by u cos theta. Remember, as I told you, whenever I'm writing this as y direction, x direction, please try to take it down in this format. Okay. If you write one below the other, it will not make any sense at all. Both are parallel processing, right? It's not like a serial processing. You do it separately and you do this separately. Both should be done at the same time, which means it will make a lot of sense. So it means time I'm taking it and putting it over here. T squared is x squared divided by u cos theta. So u squared cos squared theta. This u and u cancels. Sin theta by cos theta becomes tan theta. X minus g by 2 1 by u squared cos squared theta into x squared. So now look at this equation and tell me, how does it look like? Any idea you're getting? Y in terms of x square, what does that mean? It's a quadratic equation. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Which means it's a parabola. And you have a minus in front of x square. Forget about x. You should look only the sign in front of x square. So you have minus. So if you have minus, what does that mean? It's a inverted parabola. So it means you have proved that it is the path taken is an inverted parabola. Okay. Negative means inverted. H squared means parabola. That's all. Any questions? So if they ask you to prove that the path taken by a projectile is a parabola, this is what you are supposed to write. So very simple, nothing very difficult. So Catherine, are you there?
sir.
So did you follow everything?
Yes, sir.
So do you think you could have studied it yourself?
No, sir.
Okay, so for all of you, I'm telling you, if you give me some silly excuses for not attending the classes, I will not be able to keep you in the class. Okay, so if you are sincere in your studies, please come here. Otherwise, you can look for some other place to study. Okay, so I'm very clear on that. Only if you come, if you are regular and if you are sincere, I'll be able to keep you as my student. Okay, so thank you all. If you have doubts, stay back. Otherwise, you can.